Well, welcome. Just to let you know, we had a technical glitch at BVE with the online chat room, but we think we've solved it. So if you're watching this on the BroadcastShow.com website, then please feel free to ask questions. Just log in below the video there. There's a login area, and give us your opinions and just generally join in. We are here to listen to what you have to say. So first up tonight is Darren Godwin from Matrox Video. We fitted their new VS4 quad input card into our Workstation Specialist PC, and we're using Wirecast this evening to stream out. So we'll be giving a run through of this and other great products from Matrox. We are using some remote, I've got to get this right, PTZ cameras in the studio today, and Richard Payne from Holdan will be giving us an overview of these, plus of course, the new Panasonic HPX 600. Next, we have Richie Litchfield. Richie is a presenter trainer and will be looking at his work and what wannabe presenters, a bit like me, need to consider. If you've watched any of our BV interviews, you will also have seen the wonderful DJI drones, and in particular the Phantom, which will be giving you details of how to win later in the show. Martin from Build Your Own Drone will be here to give us a demo of this and other aerial filming systems. That was a long one. Before we begin, let's just play you an introduction to our BV interviews and shows. It was great 3 days at Excel, and if you weren't able to get there, then this will give you a taste of what we have online to view after the show, of course. Hello, good morning, welcome to BVE 2013. BVE, what are we calling it again? So I'm here with Martin at the TSL Professional Products stand.
This model, the Pan Pico 4, this is the top of the line, if you like.
So we're back on the show floor. One place we've been asked to go and have a look at is Cambo.
We've also got a follow focus unit, which has got focus points, so ideal for
2 hard stops by the looks.
2 hard stops.
So for both the live shows and these sort of streaming interviews that you're doing, we've got the production suite set up doing sort of live vision mixing, audio processing, all that's basically been done from the production suite.
This is the Steadicam Shadow V, which is a relatively new product designed specifically for live television use.
So we're bypassing compression and giving you that ease of workflow, no transcoding, no capture card required, and our customers are loving the extra time they have to do other things.
Here we are, live on TV. Next up, Kylie.
If you want to make that camera a remote camera in an outside broadcast environment, then you add that to the side and away you go.
And I'm going to get attacked by Polcam. Thank you very much, Stefan.
We like to think of it as a flying camera.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's even got red and green on it. I'm going to give my hat away. Here we go. Have a hat. That's how happy they are on the new tech stand.
Lighting desk built into the app, where I can control up to 256 lights at the same time.
We're going to go and wander and find JVC.
But what's really getting the industry talking is the 650 in particular.
Okay. So, makes it all worthwhile when that happens. This happens. This happens when you're live. Well, as you can see, we had lots of fun, and all the BV shows plus all the interviews with the exhibitors on the BV is available on the BV event page at BroadcastShow.com. You'll just find the link somewhere on there, I'm sure. We just need to pay a few bills before we carry on, so take a look at this little advert from Holdan. And of course, we want to thank Holdan for their support of Broadcast Show. So let's move on and get cracking. First up, we have Darren from Matrox. Hello, Darren.
Hello, John.
Now, some people may have heard of Matrox. I certainly have. Been around for a while. Other people may not have. First of all, tell us a little bit about Matrox.
Matrox, we are a Canadian electronics manufacturer based over in Montreal. We've been going for about 36, just over 36 years, so we know a thing or two about video.
Yep.
Actually, most of the time when people think of Matrox, they think of the graphics technology that we pioneered some years ago. So today, the way the company's pretty much made up is we're divided into 3 divisions. We have Matrox Video, which is the part that I work for. Then we have Matrox Graphics, responsible for multi-head graphics technology, fiber extenders and such like. We then have a 3rd division called Matrox Imaging, probably the division who people know the least about, including myself in actual fact, but these guys are responsible for the industrial technology in production lines and iris camera technology and so on. So as I say, 30 odd years, we know what we're doing in regards to video, and the company's still privately owned. We've got about 800, 900 people working at the company. We have worldwide offices as well, so we're an industrious organisation, always trying to push the envelope.
Brilliant. Now, we had a quick look around your stand at BVE. Always impressive. There's always a lot of products there. What sort of questions were you being asked at BVE this year? There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, it was a good show, and it surprised us pleasantly. It was a pleasant surprise moving away from Earl's Court, so we didn't know what to expect. So we had a lot of our technology on visible demonstration. In terms of questions, you know, we probably feel that over half of the questions were to do with post-production workflow.
Right.
We had a lot of inquiries to do with video streaming, so the VS4 multi-channel streaming product was very popular. We also had on display the micro quad split screen viewer, multi-viewer. Again, attracted a lot of interest and questions on what that could do at what price points. We had a scan converter also on like a loop playback, and that triggered some interest from people involved in surveillance, police authorities, and so on. And I spent most of my time actually on the MX02, so the kind of the video I/O and the post-production arm. So probably that's what skewed my viewing of the inquiries there. But yeah, it was a good cross section of inquiry we got there.
Brilliant. Now, you mentioned streaming.
Yeah.
And you're doing more and more products that sort of geared towards the streaming professional, shall we say? And I think we should just crack on and have a look at this one.
Yeah.
Now, this is a new product from you guys. This is the VS4.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. The VS4 is very simply a single PCI card slips into a PC workstation, and it lets you take 4 HD SDI inputs, record them, varying bit rates per channel, and then simultaneously hand that over to Wirecast for live cuts, transitions, and then streaming the output to the web. So big unique feature on this one is the ability to record using our MPEG-2 iframe codec. And on the next drive release, which is pretty imminent, you'll be able to also record using the Panasonic codec, so DVC Pro HD. And I believe also there's another new feature coming from Wirecast, which we will support, which lets you take the iMag output and use one of our devices to take that as an HDMI source, plug into a projector or such like.
So the idea is that you can, if you want to get, say, up to 4 HD SDI inputs into a PC, running Wirecast, you can plug this card in, and Wirecast will see each of those inputs as a separate camera feed.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
And then this is the first time I've heard about it, but this is the main thing. This will let you do ISO recording of each of those channels, so you can record individually.
Absolutely,
each one. So that's quite unique, isn't it?
It's certainly unique as far as Wirecast is concerned. So we have developed a plugin to Wirecast, which is I'm not quite sure exactly where it's found now. It's sort of buried in the interface there, where you can select how many of the channels you want to record. You don't have to record all 4 channels. You can also choose what bit rate you want to record at. Now, by default, it's 100 megabit per second, but you can record up to 300 megabit per second, depending on how fast the drives are on the system that you're using. What, in essence, it means is that you can record in high quality while simultaneously stream, and then you can come back in post-production, take that material, redo the cuts, get it ready for Blu-ray delivery or some other download post-event. So it's a very good way also of archiving all of that material as well, so you can come back or keep it for posterity's sake.
So, I mean, I do quite a lot of streaming. We use Wirecast a lot. And before, if you wanted to do ISO recordings, we would have to have something further down the chain somewhere. Or
Probably quite expensive as well.
In and out, passing it through, recording it that way. But now, you need, as long as, you know, we have to say you can make sure you've got the right speed hard drives for it, but you can spec up your PC, and let's just face it, it's not difficult to spec a PC up these days.
No, not
cheaply
at all.
as well.
I mean, I was testing this just recently on a medium spec HP workstation, relatively inexpensive, and we were quite happily getting 4 streams at 300 megabits per second, and simultaneously streaming. So that's also taking a bit of CPU overhead, and it works absolutely fine. So it's not an expensive solution at all.
I'm getting questions in from the chat room.
Oh, lovely.
Which I can't quite hear in my head, so if you could turn up the talkback button and let me know, we'll make sure we get these questions in. We're getting, there we go, it's going to check here. Can you switch single inputs to an output for a cut bus? Are we just talking about switching 1, 2, 3, 4 to an HSDI out? I'm assuming is what they're talking about.
Okay, now what I understand is that obviously the application lets you cut between the inputs. In terms of the output, this is what I was referring to when I said iMag. Now my understanding is Wirecast is going to include that feature on the next point release.
Right.
I may not be allowed to say that, but I've just said it. So that's a feature that we will be able to support.
So the idea when that feature is enabled within Wirecast, because it's a Wirecast restriction at the moment.
I gather it's a Wirecast feature they're going to add.
Yeah. So you'll then be able to take those 4 feeds in and have something like an HDMI out and cut to that HDMI out. Effectively like a switcher.
And the next driver will also permit you to put in multiple cards. So that could mean multiple VS4s. It could mean multiple MXO2 devices as well. Now the MXO2 devices give the ability to output
and of course you've
over SDI or HDMI. So there I think probably answers the question about switching between inputs and giving you an output.
Brilliant. Again, if you've got any more questions, then have a go on the chat room. As you can see, they do get through to us, and we will do our best to answer them, as long as I can hear them in my ear. You've also got a couple of other things here. Well, I've noticed something that I've just started using as well, actually.
The big one or the little one?
It's the big one. Let's go to the big one. I have used the little one as well. If we swap that out, you can see on that monitor if you want to line it up. There we go. Now, this is the is it the MXO2 dock?
This is the MXO2 dock.
Yeah.
This is a Thunderbolt docking station.
Yeah.
It's really designed for working with the MXO2 device, which is why we call it MXO2 dock. But if you were to take a look at the DS1, it looks pretty similar to the DS1. This one we launched in January. We started shipping midway through January. Now, what it does, again, uniquely here, is provide you a way of expanding the capability of your laptop, so you can have a larger display, wide keyboard, mouse, but also you can have a through to your I/O device, like an MXO2 Mini, MXO2 LE. So it gives you the ability to make the most out of that one Thunderbolt port that you've got on your MacBook Pro, for instance.
Certainly one thing I've noticed, I have a late 2011 MacBook Pro.
Okay.
And the reason I got that one and I kept it was because, of course, it had the slot for putting in the MXO2
the Express card
slot, which is grein, and it had Thunderbolt, but it didn't have USB 3. This will give you USB 3.
It'll give you that as well,
and as I say, it's Ethernet, and of course you've got the MXO2 host adapter on it.
Actually, I'll just explain. Let me just see where we are. So we have on the left-hand side we have the HDMI output. Now, essentially, this is your extended desktop.
Yes.
So this will be so if in your Mac system preferences you set up your display to be side by side, well, this will be one of them. Your laptop will be the other one. You've then next to that got a host connector there for connecting your MXO2 device. So that will get your lovely video and audio in and out to the software. Next to that is a wired network connection. For a MacBook Pro, pretty superfluous, but if you were running it on a MacBook Air, that's pretty valuable. 2 USB 2s on the back, and on the front, just swizzle that around a little bit, the USB 3 that you were talking about is there, and the Thunderbolt connection. Pretty straightforward device. It's not going to you know, get anyone's pulse racing, but it certainly does exactly what it says.
It does, and I have to say, it has been very helpful. One thing I must stress: you must be running Mountain Lion.
Mountain Lion and upwards, 10.8.2 upwards.
And then it's then you get the full functionality of it. Brilliant device. Now, if you didn't want one of those and you just got a Thunderbolt like a MacBook Air and you want to stick an MXO2, there's another little device you've got behind
this little guy here. We've been we've been shipping this for quite a while. I mean, well over a year. I mean, one of the reasons why we brought out the DS1 and then in turn the MX-02 dock is that we had this Thunderbolt technology under our belt. It was very straightforward for us to kind of expand on that and do more interesting stuff. But where this black box is still really quite useful is that it's bus powered. That means if you're on the road, if you need to be able to hook up your devices, you haven't got to worry about electric. Obviously, the docks are designed to be sitting in the studio, sitting at a desk somewhere. That's the whole point of them. So yeah, little black box there, it's absolutely ideal. The other really nice thing about the way that we've organised all of these devices is that any MX-02 will work with any host.
Right.
It will work on Mac laptops, PC laptops, desktops, the Mac Pro if you can get your hands on one still. It will work on anything. All you have to do is just put the right adapter on it.
Brilliant. We just got a question in from, I think we covered it, but just to confirm, the MX-02 dock has 2 USB 2s and 1 USB 3.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I think there is a reason for that. It's a technical reason for that, and so it's not like we thought, oh, we couldn't think beyond one.
Sure.
I think that the idea is that the bandwidth, the amount of USB 3 bandwidth that you can get over a Thunderbolt bus is limited. Now the thing is if you go put in lots of USB 3 ports on your little box and you run out of bandwidth, you're going to have a lot of disappointed people. It makes actually a lot more sense for us to say, no, the point of the USB 2s is for human interface devices, it's for keyboard, it's for mouse. The USB 3 is designed really for storage, stuff of that sort. So it wasn't an oversight. We did it very deliberately so we avoid pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite right. They're brilliant devices. I'm very much looking forward. We're going to be doing a review of the VS4 in the next issue of TV Base. So I'm going to give it a thorough thrashing and see how it performs. Definitely looking forward to that. Now, NAB is just around the corner. It seems like BVE's just finished, and before we know it, it's NAB.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anything we can expect from Matrox?
I'm
putting you under pressure.
Putting you under pressure
now.
We can never say too much. We don't want to spoil. We don't want to spoil all the fun and excitement. What you can expect is us to see, for us to show rather an expanded portfolio of what we've already got. You know, we've made some inroads into the streaming market, so you can expect us to see to show more of the Monarch product that we showcased at IBC last September. So you can expect to see something more there. We've also, from Matrox Graphics, they'll be showing some of their technology, which is in the public domain. There's the fiber KVM extenders. There's the video over IP technology, Mavex, that they'll be showing there as well. So I think, if you've got a few minutes spare and you're in Vegas and you're bored, definitely come over to the stand. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we certainly will be. If people aren't going to Vegas, they can't afford the flights, and they want to find out some more information about these products, best place to find you?
Matrox.com /video. All the information on our products will be up there. Matrox.com, incidentally, is the landing page for graphics, for video, and for imaging. So if you want to look at the graphics products, like, for example, Dual Head to Go, the Avio products, the fiber extender, go through to the graphics site. So all of it's up there, and send a message through to the UK office, and you'll get through to me, hopefully.
Brilliant. Darren, thank you very much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We are certainly going to look forward to especially playing with the VS4, and I've already enjoyed playing with the dock already. It's been great. So, Darren, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you.
No problem.
So, definitely go and have a look at them. I have to say, if you do have a MacBook Air, the dock is an absolute perfect piece of kit to accompany it. It just gives you all the USB 3 and everything you need, and the Ethernet port instead of that horrible little Apple thing they give you. So go and have a look there. Now, Richard Payne from Holdan. Richard was with us earlier, and he was giving us a hand setting up the studio. And we thought it would be worthwhile for him to give us an overview of these cameras that we're using. So we've got 3 Panasonic cameras here. And first up, we're going to have a quick look at the PTZ cameras that we are using. Have a quick look at this.
I'd like to show you some of the new Panasonic PTZ cameras now. This is the HE120, which is also available in black, by the way. This is the new HE60. This is the S model, which has a SDI output. This is a RP50 controller, which can control both of these cameras. So I can select a camera and use this joystick here to control it. And also, you can control either of these cameras because they have IP control from a computer, a laptop or Mac or PC, and with some new software with an iPad as well. So let me take you through some of the features of these cameras. The HE120 here uses a 3 MOS chip, so it's actually using the same sensor that's in the HBX250, the camera that's actually recording this. So it's a broadcast quality sensor. It has a 20 times zoom lens, which works from about 31, 32 millimeters to about 616 millimeters, so a terrific zoom range. And because it's a 3 MOS camera, because it has three different color sensors, the image rendering is at a very high quality, and it's a native 1920 1080 block on this camera as well. So pretty much a broadcast quality PTZ camera. And as you can see, it can be controlled from an RP50 controller like this, or there are also some higher end Panasonic controllers with more subtle features, which I'll talk about when I go into the controller in more detail. But it can also be controlled from a laptop interface. At the moment, I'm controlling the HE60 camera from my laptop, and I'll explain why in a moment. So this is the HE60. So it's slightly different. It has a single chip, a single 3/3" sensor, whereas this is 3 3/3" sensors. Has an 18 times zoom range, but as you can see, it's a smaller form factor as well, so a little more discreet. When you move a HE120, it's pretty obvious what's going on, whereas if I select my HE60, you can see it's a little more subtle in terms of motion. It doesn't attract the eye quite so much, but the image quality won't be, and the low light performance isn't quite up to what it will be with the HE120. Oh, first of all, I should show you the connectivity on the back of the camera. And on the HE120, we have SDI and simultaneous HDMI output. And we have both a terminal for controlling it via standard network, so I'm plugged into a router which is connected to this and my laptop, but it could also have RS422 control from older model PTZ controllers. They're called PTZ cameras, by the way. PTZ stands for Pan, Tilt and Zoom. It's not very strange, sorry, it's not very complicated, it's just a remote camera which you can totally control over the interface. From this controller, you don't just control the movement, the left, right, up, down, zoom in and out. You can also control the camera features like iris, shutter speed, and both these can have a paint effect, so you can subtly amend the green, the red and blue levels to match cameras remotely. So it's like having a full CCU as well as a full PTZ controller. You can also use an on-screen display which you can bring up on the camera so you can see what settings you're controlling. It makes it easier to navigate the menus than just using the RP50 controller alone. But if you're using a laptop to control one of these cameras, with the HE60, as you can see here, you also get a on-screen picture, so a video over IP connection. It's lower resolution than you'll get through the SDI output this camera also has, but it's very useful for monitoring. When you're just adjusting the camera, it can mean you can be using the SDI output to record locally with the camera and yet monitor it over a network, which is an interesting feature we've started to use to make these PTZ cameras totally wireless in operation. By using some Intratec kit, which I think we've shown you in previous episodes, we're able to power the HE120 or the HE60 from a Pelly's case-sized Wi-Fi unit and have a remote camera like this, which is sending the pictures back wirelessly and also being controlled wirelessly. So you can be 100 meters away and send perfect HD SDI back using a Teradek bolt from either this camera or this camera, and use totally remote control over them using either the laptop or using an RP50 controller like this. This is going to give some interesting possibilities. It's not always possible to put a cameraman in dangerous places up high in a tree or somewhere like that, but obviously a camera like this, it could be placed there carefully and then left there for a whole day running off a V-lock battery. So some interesting possibilities for remote PTZ cameras using new wireless technology. So back to the HE120 and the HE60. The HE60 has some interesting features which aren't on the HE120. So first of all, there's the monitoring over IP, which the 120 doesn't have, but it also has the ability to remove the infrared filter. There's an optical infrared filter which clicks in and out, so you can choose a daytime or nighttime mode. So we're able to use this camera in total darkness just using infrared lights. So there's some interesting wildlife or perhaps scary reality TV possibilities for using the infrared mode on the HE60 camcorder. Now the HE120 doesn't have an infrared mode, but it does have very useful neutral density filters. There's 3-position neutral density filters like you'd find on a traditional camcorder, and this makes it very useful for filming in difficult to control lighting situations. If you've got bright window light or if the lighting is very changeable, we can dial up the optical neutral density filters just by remote, and you can hear the filters click in over the top. So all the cameras can be pre-programmed with up to 100 presets in terms of position, zoom, focus, iris. So just by clicking position 2 here, it will find its predefined position. We can go to 3, position 4, position 5, and as I say, you can have up to 100 of these positions built into the camera. The memory settings are remembered inside the camera rather than inside the controller. So the same memory settings will be accessible from the PC, from a laptop controller, from an iPad controller, as they are from this controller. And you might also notice that I've both got, or with the HE60 camera, I've got control from both the RP50, or I can take control from my laptop to control it as well. So you can have multiple controllers on a network, and so you could move from room to room to control it from different places. So that's an overview of the Panasonic PTZ series, the HE120, the HE60 and the RP50 controller.
Well, thanks, Richard. He'll be back later in the show talking about the HPX 600. So these PTZ cameras that we've got here, we've got a couple of them, and they're all controlled by this unit, which you can see in a minute, this one here. So this is the unit, and this can control 2 cameras that we've got here. One of them is currently pointing at this unit, and I can adjust all sorts of things. I can adjust the iris on it, as you can see, and get it looking a little bit better. And then if we switch over to the other camera, what you'll see, which is not that one, if we go to camera 4, there we go. We've got this one set to move around. Let me just put this one back. Here we go. So we can move this camera around. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the studio. Look, there's Richie, our next guest. We've got the lights over there. In the dark, we put it to auto iris. You can see it opens up. We can zoom it all in. I'm trying to do this on something with a delay. That'd be much, but there we go. Whee! There's Matt. He's checking the chat room. So if you have questions, you want to make sure you want to ask them, then he's the man who's picking them up. And the other thing that we can do, so if I wanted to go back to our camera where we were looking at, there we go. Look, we can set presets, so we can go for that camera shot. We could go for that camera shot. We could go back to this, and it adjusts all the iris and the focusing. There you go, automatically for you. It's very cool. And if I go back to, and that's all controlled, there we go, by that little controller there. So I'm quite enjoying this because I'm controlling this as well as talking to you. So it's amazing that I'm actually doing 2 things at once. So these cameras are currently one facing towards me, one facing back, and the idea is I will try and switch between them as and when we need to do that. Also, of course, I'm monitoring these on something, and we're using a variety of monitors in the studio. Can I go to camera 1, please? Hey, I'd much prefer single shot, just looks so much nicer. What was I saying? We use a variety of monitors. I've got one here, and I've got a couple over there, which I'm monitoring the PTZ cameras on. And these are being provided by Cache Media, which is great because they're always really nice, high quality Marshall monitors. And have a quick look at this ad from Cache Media.
Cache Media supplies monitors, servers, live streaming and transcoding products. With 10 years experience of supplying video and audio monitoring solutions to leading customers in the broadcast and AV industries, Cache Media supplies a variety of quality products, including Marshall monitors, SD and HD servers and time delays from 360 systems, hard data TV playout and production servers, Do-Re-Mi Labs equipment, including disc recorders and converters, as well as brevity transcoding and delivery products. Find out about the full range of products at www.cache-media.com.
So before I go to our next guest, just to remind you, coming up we will have Martin here showing off some of these DJI drones, and we may even get one flying in this studio. That's how good they are. And it's not the biggest studio in the world, so if nothing else, at least wait for that, because it could be catastrophe or it could be really good. We'll find out. In the meantime, I've got Richie Litchfield with me. Hi, Richie.
Hello to
Thank you for coming along.
I've got to say, you're very good at multitasking.
Do you like that? It's quite impressive, isn't it? Well,
operating that, talking at the same time. My God, you're good.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was too busy thinking about. Well, we try our best. It's fun, and it usually goes pear-shaped at some point during the show. So let's hope it doesn't happen now. Now, Richie, you are from Presenter Network.
I am.
And for those who don't know, first tell us a bit about yourself and your background, and why Presenter Network. What's that all about?
Okay, I'm a presenter and also a presentation consultant.
Right.
So I've been presenting now interactive shows for 20 odd years.
Yep.
Really. And what I've decided to do, or a group has decided to do, is actually put all those skills into one basket and actually go out, look at how people are presenting. So we're working with presenters already on the screen, and actually develop their skills.
Right.
Okay, and with that we've got the network.
Yep.
Okay, and a network is basically where presenters can actually come and actually, in a safe environment, talk about problems, issues, anything like that. We also have speakers and all that sort of stuff that takes place, and also a magazine.
So a lot going on.
It's an awful lot, awful lot.
So let's talk first of all a bit about training. Okay, now I'm far from a professional presenter, and it's the people like me and things that you're out there to help.
Indeed, yeah. So, and not only do we go into production companies and live TV shows, okay, and look at presenters, we also go into institutions, into companies. Companies like this are actually doing like little TV shows on the web and looking at how the presenters are actually coming across to the general public. Okay, whether they're engaging, whether they're building a trust up with the audience, how they're standing, how their vocal tone is, their body language. We look at all those different things and then tweak them. Okay, and then leave and then come back and then see how they've developed over time.
So you've kindly sent us a few little clips and things, and I think we can play one that's going to show, while we have a little chat, the sort of things that you do. We're having a look at it
We
now.
go all over the world, okay, training. This is actually in India. This is one of the things from India.
Yeah.
This was a game show, Bollywood Bonanza here. This is in LA. This is one of the red carpet events. And here's one of our training sessions in progress just here. So here we've got Rowan. Okay, he does a food show actually on a big network over in India.
Yeah.
Yeah, his show's absolutely fantastic. It's gone through the rating's gone through the roof. I've got hiccups.
So you go around the world. People say, help. I'm setting up a show. I've got a presenter. You clearly need some help.
Yeah.
You're the person to call. You go out there and you'll run a training course.
We ran a series of different training courses over a week. Okay, and look at how the presenters are improving. So we set them small little tasks. Okay, and then get them to deliver that back. It's really fun. It's really engaging. I mean, we're working with people that are sort of already established.
So I'm a presenter and I need a few tips as we're talking about it. Obviously we're not going to do it. Yeah, clearly. We're obviously not going to do a full training course here, and believe me, I probably need one. But give us some tips. What should us budding presenters be looking at?
Okay, well, one thing that really niggles me actually, and I see it all the time, is when people look into the lens. So if they're talking into the lens, what they do is they stick up their cue card, okay, onto the side of the camera with their little bullet points on about little things they're going to talk about. It's not an auto cue, so they stick it at the side of the camera. And then every now and again, they're looking off camera, okay, like that. Now, as soon as you look away from camera, it's fine to glance away, it's fine to glance up or down or whatever. If you're doing products on a shopping channel, you're obviously going to look at the product.
Sure.
But if you're looking off camera and it's obvious like that, you're automatically going to lose trust. Viewers are going to wonder at home, what's going on behind the scenes? Am I missing out on something? So yeah, always important, keep looking into that great big black eye, okay, and engage with the audience. Another thing is, as soon as that camera gets switched on, people start to dance, okay, particularly if they're standing up. We're sitting here at the moment. I'm awful when it comes to those sort of swizzle seats, you know, those ones. I don't even know that I'm doing it. I'm just doing it until I watch it back and I'm like, why did I do that? So when you stand, okay, anchor yourself, put both your feet either side, okay, and actually just breathe. Take a moment to breathe. And that way, you're not going to fidget so much. I mean, I was doing some work today with a corporate client, and one of the ladies that I was teaching, she was actually all over the place. She was fine until I said action, and then my God, she was all over the place. So yeah, we got her to work on that, and it's quite a little thing. But when people don't know that they're doing it, obviously, it can come across a bit weird on camera. And there's another one as well. Okay, when you're coming into a show, okay, a lot of people when they're being counted in, okay, they'll just be like this, looking like a startled rabbit in headlights. Okay, as soon as it's live, they suddenly go like that, and it really looks fake. Okay, so start smiling beforehand. Okay, it might look fake to the rest of the crew, but believe me, it looks a lot better when it's going live to the globe.
So, chat room, of course, is already talking in my ear. People are talking about, you know, what about uhs, so's, and all sort of things like that. Is this something that you have to try and? How do you get away from a lot of people? And I do it. Loads of people do.
You're not so bad, actually. You do say so a lot.
I say so a lot. People think I'm Canadian because I say so. They always seem to
say with that, what I'd do is better preparation of notes, more research, always very, very handy, because then you're not stumbling over your words. Okay, getting a good night's sleep, very important. Lots of coffee as well, really. So your mind is staying awake. Just be aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it. Okay, I do it. I'm always doing it.
Every pause, it's like you vocalising in the brain.
Now? Yeah.
I will take that all on board. I must remember to stop saying so. People do wind me up about it. So there we go.
So,
you see?
Pound for every time you say it.
Do you know, that would be good. I'll be broke by the end of the day. If people want to book you and they might be in a different country or something like that, and not particularly wanting necessarily to come out, do you do webinars, or is there web training, or can you do remote training of some kind?
Well, with the network, okay, because it is an interactive network, so people can actually go to our website, which is currently at the moment being revamped. It's handy for the show, isn't it? So I can't really direct people straight there. We do have a magazine that goes alongside the Presenter Network. It's called, wait for it, The Presenter.
Whoa.
And it's also available on the App Store, okay, from on iTunes.
Okay.
And also on the Google Play Marketplace. You can go there. You can download the app. If I just bring it up onto the screen, you'll see it. My notes on the screen. There's a little app that says The Presenter. And when you go to it, there we go. Just wait for it to load.
Got it on screen.
Fingerprints all over the actual screen itself. Please excuse them. And then you can actually just download the copy and read it. And it's very interactive. With this as well, you can actually have, like, we've got videos in there as well. So we're going to be having more interviews, more videos, more speakers coming into the studio and talking to us. This is Max Howard. He was actually one of the producers for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Oh, okay. He's a little bit like a Tony Hart, English guy, a little bit like a Tony Hart. If you remember him.
I do remember.
Do you remember him? Right. God, I'm showing my age. Tony Hart, over in America, he does all animation. So he was involved in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And what's that one with the Hunchback of Notre Dame that's just been on as well? It was
I know the one.
You know the one. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, he was that. But he does presenting in terms of like Tony Hart.
Sure.
And also, he was doing a big speech about working with animated characters as a presenter. So we've got that in one of our issues as well.
Brilliant.
So it's great.
And that issue comes out how often?
We bring it out 4 times a year.
Yep.
At a push. Yep. We want to bring it out more than that. But obviously, we are busy. So it comes out, and we do send people messages so they can just grab a copy and read it to their heart's content.
That's great. Now that's the magazine. I have a little birdie has told me that there may be a book coming out shortly.
Yes, yes, there's a book. It's being written right now. It's nearly finished.
Right.
Nearly finished. We're just proofing it at the moment and just waiting for a couple more interviews in there. Book's coming out. It's all on presenting for Participation TV.
Yeah.
So we're looking at various different presenters and also different techniques that you can actually do. If you're a new presenter as well, because we don't just leave out the entry-level wannabe presenters, because we're working with the already established presenters, but we like to include them in as well. So everything's included, regardless of whether you are entry-level or whether you're more sort of advanced in terms of your presenting style.
Brilliant. Now I'm getting talked in my ear here. First thing somebody said, and thank you very much for that, is you should have seen me on my first show. So I'm assuming that you think I've got a little bit better since the first show we put out.
You're a bit more looser?
A little bit, probably am.
Yeah, I was a bit more
kind of,
relaxed is the word I'm looking for, relaxed.
Not so much bricking myself as I probably was in the first show. And also somebody's asked, do you do anything, is there a difference between radio presenting and video presenting? Do you tackle that at all?
Well, one is visual.
Well, yes. as far as
I hate to state the obvious. Well, there are two different techniques altogether, really. With radio, you have to paint a big picture.
Sure.
Okay, you've got to put that picture into the viewer's mind. You've got to lifestyle it a lot more than you have on TV.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you've got to be a lot more descriptive, really. I'm stumbling over my words, and I'm a presenter trainer.
Gotcha. So, if people want to find out more information about everything that you do and offer, how can they get hold of you and get the magazine, of course?
Very easy. You can go to www.presenternetwork.com, or if you want the magazine, it's thepresenter.net.
Richie, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here. All these toys, I could be here all day.
You could just, yeah.
Especially the helicopter, the what are they called?
The drones.
Drones, yes.
You wait.
Yeah.
Fun to come with
I'm
those,
looking
I
forward
can
to
tell
that.
you.
Excellent.
Brilliant, Richie. Thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated. As you can see, always something to learn when it comes to presenting, like saying presenting. And do you know what? It says here, and the first word it says on my auto cue here of what's coming up next is so. Okay? This is why I do it. It's written here for me. For all you creative individuals out there, take a minute or so to look at the Sony Pro Awards. You still have time to enter, I'm sure. Anyway, I think you have time to enter. Do we know when it's finishing? End of April. So Sony Pro Awards. Do we have anything coming up on that? We do have something coming up on that. Go and have a look.
Here's the deal. Think you're creative. Think you can compete. Think you're better than the rest. Maybe you are. Maybe. You could be knocking at the door, or you could be an established pro. You can use whatever kit you want, even shoot on a smartphone. You just need, what would you say? Talent, vision, spark. Whatever you call it, you need something that makes your film special. You've got leading industry judges. You've got up to 5 minutes. You've got the chance to make your mark on a level playing field. Pro, wannabe, student, same rules, same opportunities, same prizes. So, that's the Sony Production Awards story. That's the arena. That's the challenge. The question is, what are you going to do now? Walk away or step up to the mark?
Say you've still got time to get into those awards, so make sure you do. I mentioned earlier on that Richard Payne from Holdan Oh, by the way, I believe he is, am I right in saying he's in the chat room? He is in the chat room, which if you haven't already worked it out and you're looking at us on BroadcastShow.com, is right below me. Sign into that. Doesn't cost anything, don't need passwords or anything like that. Although you have to do one of these horrible little capture things, but you'll make it. Go in there and you can ask questions. So make sure you do. He's there to answer your questions, so make the most of him. He was talking to us obviously earlier about PTZ cameras, and now he's going to give you the overview of the new HPX 600. Have a look at this.
This is the new AG HPX 600 camcorder from Panasonic. It's a new lightweight 2/3 inch camcorder specifically aimed at the sort of ENG market. It's capable of recording at up to full broadcast 100 megabits a second AVC intro onto P2 cards, but it also will record in a variety of codecs, DV, DVC Pro HD, at 720 50p or 1080 or even standard definition. So there are 2 slots for P2 cards here, and it's got a couple of very interesting features, one of which is very low power. It actually has a 17-watt power consumption, so it will run for many hours from even a smaller battery like this. And also, it has the ability to be upgraded with a Wi-Fi dongle, so it can send its proxy files. You need to add a proxy board as well as a Wi-Fi dongle, but then you'll be able to send low-resolution files straight to anything Wi-Fi, to a Wi-Fi network, so we can get low-resolution files straight back to a newsroom much quicker than you can by any other means. And I believe it's the first shoulder mount ENG style camera like this to be able to offer this feature. So with just the ability to add this dongle, this will also give you wireless monitoring onto an iPad. So if we come around here, so it's a standard 2/3 inch, so it will take standard 2/3 before mount lenses. This lens is actually available as a kit lens. It's a Fujinon 16x lens, which I think it's something like 8 to 128 millimeter zoom range it will offer. And this also offers autofocus, which is quite unusual on this sort of camera, but I can see it being occasionally useful if you need to lock it off and you're not able to be next to the camera while you're filming. This is the CF10 viewfinder. The camcorder comes on its own without battery, without lens and without viewfinder, so you need to add these things. The CF10 is the lower cost viewfinder, and it also will operate as a flip out screen like this. Do remember, if you open it like this, you'll also need to change the mirror switch on here, because when you have this down, there's a little mirror, so everything is reversed sort of right to left. So the mirror switch allows you to select whether you're using it as a flip out screen or whether you're using it through the viewfinder. Right, so we can upgrade this camera. This is the first of the Panasonic camcorders which will give us later on, probably in the next 12 months, the ability to upgrade to the new AVC Ultra class of codecs. AVC Ultra is going to be very interesting. It's going to offer, among other things, a 25 megabit 422 codec, so it's a lot more colour information than current low bit rate formats, utilising more features of MPEG-4 to give this very high quality but at a very, very low bit rate. So that will be a paid for upgrade by putting a board in. So what they've decided to do is come up with a lightweight, 2.8 kgs is very light for this sort of camera, a lightweight low cost camera unit which can be added to over time. So you can add the proxy board, you can add an HDSDI recording board, you can also add variable frame rate as a feature to this camera if you want, the Wi-Fi functionality, but if you don't need any of that, if you just need a very good shoulder mount camera, you can buy it at the lower cost and enjoy the excellent picture quality it's capable of producing. Another interesting feature of this camera is this LCD screen, which gives you access to all the basic settings without having to go and hunt through menu system. So I'm able to check features here. If I press this cam button repeatedly, we can find out what the white balance settings are, what the lens is set on. We can see the aperture and the zoom on the lens. If I press it again, we get to the scene files, and Panasonic scene files, which they're very famous for creating the particular looks, so you can match cameras together or tweak gamma curves and things to give it that sort of filmic look, which Panasonic's famous for. We can also check white balance. So it's a nice quick way of checking all the settings on the camera without having to bury in menus while you're shooting. In terms of connectivity, we've got 2 P2 slots here. We've got USB, it can be seen as a device or as a host. A LAN, a network connection, LAN network connection, which is very important. I don't believe any other camera offers this sort of functionality. And this will give us the ability to transfer, if you have the proxy file boards, to be able to transfer files via LAN straight to a network. So there are quite occasions where the Wi-Fi may not be practical, but where we could use this hardwired LAN to be able to do some quite interesting things with the low-res files from this camera. They're calling it a network-enabled camera, and that's for a reason. So we've not only got Wi-Fi, we've got wired LAN connection as well. Also obviously got HDSDI out, Genlock, a time code in and out, and a simple monitor out as well. So there's very good functionality. And for a shoulder mount ENG camera like this, unusually there's an HDMI output as well. Of course, we've got all the XLR functionality and phantom power that you'd expect from a camera like this.
Well, it's a lovely camera, I have to say. I'm quite looking forward to having a play with that at some point. And of course, as I said before, Richard is in the control room. So have a look at that. And he'll be in there to have a play around with, and you can ask him all sorts of questions, things like that, which is great. Bear with me 1 second when I ask Mark. Mark, could you please turn down the return feed back to the desk? Thank you. Because that completely throws me when all I can hear is myself with a 200 millisecond delay. Shift in a little bit, Martin. That'd be great. Thank you. No problems. And we'll. So, Martin, from Build Your Own Drone.
Yes.
We have been looking forward to this moment, I can say. Yes. Now, at BVE, I was walking around and I spontaneously decided I had to go and look at the DJI stand that was there, where you had these amazing drones, which we'll have a look at in a minute. And it felt we just had to get you on to come and talk about these drones. Mm-hmm. For a start, tell us a little bit about the sort of range of drones that you can get, because I used to think they were just massively huge, expensive things, but they're not. I mean, we've got a couple here.
Sure, no, absolutely. The range starts from, you know, the complete ready to go out of the box, £499 for the Phantom, which we'll be looking at in a moment. Then they go all the way up to around about £12,000–13,000. Some even go higher than that, depending upon the specifications. Sure. But typically, if you're looking to get into it, £499 and you're often, well, flying.
Well, you mentioned flying. Now, one thing that took my eye as soon as we went to it was this little Phantom drone, which you've got here, which is the one that we have. Actually, if I switch this camera, I think I can do it here. Look at this. Do this. Let's have a go. If I go here, which is this baby, as soon as I... Whoa, wrong way. Oh, as soon as we get it... You know what? It's not in shot. There's only one way to get that in shot, isn't there?
Yeah, should have a quick go.
Let's give it a go. Which is this one here. Now, oh boy. So we are now flying. This is just, it's amazing how controllable they are. Okay, look at that. It's just brilliant. This is why it's quite handy to have a PTZ camera in here as well. And if we take out all these cameras, it's going to be, our viewing on YouTube will go up by a 20-fold, I should think. Now, this is the Phantom. I'm going to try and get you to talk and fly.
Yeah, sure.
Feel free to land it anytime you feel that you want to. And this thing can actually carry a camera, can't it? Yeah. And remarkably, it's look at this. Look. So let's get this in shot. There we go. So this baby here is the Phantom.
Yes.
Now this is a. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay. In short, this is the easiest route to get into the hobby. Yep. It's a complete ready-to-go system from the box. Everything's included. The battery, the charger, there's a GoPro mount underneath. I don't know if you'll be able to see that if I tilt it a little bit to the side, like so. Is that okay for you, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
And all you really need to do is add the pilot.
Yep.
Add the GoPro, and you're off and running. You're getting in the air, you're getting some quality footage, you know, getting some perspectives that you've never seen before.
Now, you say just pick it up and fly it. Now, this is a helicopter, and surely you need massive amount of... I know you know it's an octocopter, No, it's not. No, it's a quadricopter.
This was
I
a
can't,
quad, yes.
Clearly, I
Yes.
can't count. This is a quadricopter. What makes these things so easy to fly nowadays?
The biggest advancement that we've had is things like mobile telephones, smartphones, namely gyroscopes, accelerometers, flooded the market. Obviously, as we know, as things get more readily available, the cost drops.
Yeah.
So therefore, inside here, we have all the accelerometers, the gyros. So when this knows that it's moving in either one or 4 axis, it will basically correct that for you. And because we haven't got much room here in the studio, I did briefly hold the controller out. Hopefully people saw that I was completely hands off. And it was just sitting around there. So there is an extraordinarily easy route to get into it.
This thing does its best to remain in the air and stable.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, if you're outside and you've got clear view of the sky and a GPS lock, it does even more remarkable things.
It does indeed. What it would enable you to do when you've got the GPS lock in action, even if it's a windy day, it will actually hold its position to a point where you're actually sitting inside a very, very small box, and it will just stay there when you can put the controller down and just leave it on station. Obviously, it's not as much fun as flying it, but for aerial shots, etc., composing, then that really works to your advantage.
And looking at the controller, I mean, it's a nice, simple controller, easy to use, and you can change the mode as you're flying on this as well.
Absolutely. The mode we've had it in indoors is what they call an ATI mode, which is basically altitude. When we go outside, we use GPS ATI, which is obviously GPS and altitude combined, and that's what gives us our position hold, and then also gives us our ability to hold the altitude as well. So that gives you a really, really good solid feel for the craft. If you take your hands off the sticks, it stays where it's left.
It's amazing. Somebody's just asked, we'll probably go on to it in a bit more detail a bit later, but can anybody just pick up one of these and start flying it? Is there restrictions on flying these sort of things?
At this moment in time, there is no restriction for hobby use.
Right.
So literally tomorrow morning, you could buy one from me.
Right.
Go down, have a good fly around. It's not a problem. The only time that there is any restrictions is if it's used for commercial activities, because you need to have insurance. And to do the insurance is a bit like a car driving license. You have to go through the process of getting that qualification. And that's the only difference between it being illegal and an illegal activity.
Gotcha. So if you wanted to take one and you wanted to do a few little shots around the area and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
Hence the reason you can see people using these for YouTube videos, and I've seen a lot of them on there.
Precisely, yes.
Somebody's just asked, has this got a return to base GPS feature?
It certainly does. The GPS return feature on this is if you lose the transmission. So if the radio controller and the Phantom lose their connection, this will automatically RTL, return to launch, come and pop itself back within roughly about 6 feet of its takeoff point.
So would either be activated by you flying it so far away, something interference, or you hit that switch?
Yeah, I believe if you were accidentally or foolish enough, or just want to test it to flick it off, then yes, it would
come back.
It'd pop back to see you. Yes.
Brilliant. And it mounts. It comes with a mount.
Comes with the mount, yes. So there's a couple of options that you've got, John. Anybody that's used a GoPro before, I don't know how's best to angle that for you to be able to see. Anybody that's used a GoPro before will be very, very familiar with this, the fingers that basically mount the GoPro. So if you've got your waterproof housing, you can certainly pop that straight in and then do it the speeding up. If you're using a GoPro 2, obviously they're about 30% fatter, or if a 3 is 30% thinner. So the mount is obviously catered for the fatter of the two. The 2. However, if you're using a 3, a little bit of foam or something, we'd just tuck it in there and then it'll just take up that slack.
Brilliant. And just before anybody asks, which I'm sure they will, flight time on one of these?
Okay, flight time typically, if you've got a reasonably warm day and it's not blowing a gale, so that's probably, 2 days a year, I guess.
Yes, about right.
You're looking somewhere in the region of about 10 minutes worth of flight time. If you're obviously flying around, it's a bit like petrol in a car. If you race off every set of lights, you do half a tank in next to no time. If you're cruising these around, you'd do easily 10 minutes on a battery.
Right, gotcha. Now, if you do have questions, keep them coming in the chat room or send us a tweet at BroadcastShow and we'll put them to Martin straight away. So this is the baby of the family, shall we say?
Yes.
Now, let's say we've had one of these, we've learnt to fly, we're fairly confident now, we want to go up a league.
Yeah, if we wanted to move up a couple of a couple of runs. We'll just get another one brought in.
Yeah, bring it in.
Fantastic, thank you.
Now this little thing here, what do we have here?
Well, this is called...
I say little thing.
Yeah, this is called a DJI S800 spreading wings.
Yep.
This one is a hexacopter.
Yep.
So it's got 6 rotors, and very much like the Phantom, is an extraordinarily easy to fly craft.
Yep.
Believe it or not, I actually use the Phantom as a training aid for clients who buy these off of us. So once I'm happy they can fly a Phantom, and they can keep that under control, which is obviously very easy.
Yeah.
We then move them onto one of these to fly.
Gotcha.
And obviously, it just makes perfect sense to, if you want to go and find a tree to fly into, it's a lot easier to do it with that and a lot cheaper than it is with this one.
And this is a hexacopter.
Hexacopter,
yes. I actually managed to count right.
Yes.
That time. Similar to what we saw on Top Gear, didn't we? They had a similar sort of arrangement.
Might actually look something like the one, yes.
Funny enough.
Indeed, yes.
And this one, different to, obviously, there's lots of differences, but this thing has a gimbal on it. And explain a gimbal for people.
Sure, absolutely. Probably the single most exciting thing about the whole package on the S800 is indeed the gimbal. It's called a Zenmuse. It also has the name Z15.
Yep.
It carries 3 cameras currently, either a Next 5, Next 7, or a GH2 from Panasonic. First 2 are from Sony. And what really makes this camera gimbal so special is the fact that it's very, very little post-production required after you've been in flight. And that all comes down to the fact that it's a brushless gimbal technology that's used. And the motors on here give a very, very seamless, very, very, very smooth and seamless output.
Yep.
I don't know if we're able to actually get something up and running.
Well, we've got behind...
Oh, fantastic.
If we can...
Yeah, I don't know if...
Now, what we've done here is, just so you know, we have the a little transmitter on here, just sending a little composite signal from this NEX5, and up on the monitor here, we might not be able to see it. We might have to. I'll tell you what I'll do. I know what. While you're doing that, I'm just going to switch this other camera. Let's do this because I reckon this might work. Right. If I do that, bear me a second. I'm just setting up a camera here. See if we can get this to. Right, this is a feed. Now, you can see how much he's moving that helicopter. If we there we go. So that is, you probably can't appreciate it, but he's moving that helicopter a lot. And that gimbal, let's use it as a picture goes out.
I was about to say, if I just turn to the TV a bit.
Your body is right between you and the thing. But it keeps the camera steady. And you can see on here, on the gimbal itself, and I'll get the other, because we've got all these PTZ cameras here. Oh, that's me going over the board, haven't it? Let me just, there we go. So if we cut to that camera 4, which is a bit out of focus, but, you know, let's see if it sorts itself out. There we go. As you can see, the gimbal will try and do its best, look at that, as a thing to keep the camera steady. So this, I mean, this thing, you can fly around in fairly, I suspect, strongish winds, or even be a bad pilot, and it's going to be fairly forgiving, shall we say?
Absolutely. To give you an idea of how good the system is, they will happily fly in wind speeds of around about 15, 17 miles an hour.
Right.
So that's quite a brisk breeze for something this big, the cross-section area that's presented. And as for making pilots look good, it seriously improves your flying in a heartbeat. They are. It's a shame we've not got a bit more room here, because I would certainly get you to have a quick go with one and just demonstrate how you could start off from basic beginner to obviously be able to get them into a hover and then be able to fly. The main difference with one of these is it's like a 747, whilst the Phantom's a bit like a jet fighter. So this one takes a bit longer to turn, a bit longer to slow down. So you just got to appreciate that when you drive it. A bit like driving on ice or driving on a dry road. You just need to adapt your flight styles ever so slightly. But once you've got one, you've got them both.
So one question we had, I think it's from the chat room, was can you give us some idea of the sort of range that we get, say, from the Phantom and then from this?
Ranges in time, flight, distance would be limited by law at the moment, which is 500 meters.
Okay.
Because you have to stay within line of sight. However, this one here, if we were to be able to use it outside a line of sight, This one, as long as the battery will get you there, will fly for as long as you want it to. Waypoints are 10 kilometres apart.
Okay.
That's the maximum.
You'd be hard pushed to see it at 10 kilometres.
I think you'd be very hard pushed to see it at a couple of 100 metres.
I'd say with the Phantom, you pick that up on the at 500.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to see.
Extremely.
So they go as far enough for you to be able to fly them and still be able to see what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. If you consider that you can fly a 1 kilometre diameter from where you are, basically, that's superb. 500 metre radius around you is a long way to go.
Brilliant. Somebody else has also asked about charging the batteries. What sort of time do we look at for a battery recharge?
Battery recharge on a Phantom's around about half an hour to 40 minutes. On one of these guys, if you've got the right charger, will also be about the same kind of time. The battery capacity on this is around about 10 times the battery capacity on that, because this weighs about 7 kilograms.
Yep.
That one obviously weighs substantially less.
An awful lot less.
Yes.
They're all coming in thick and fast.
No,
we knew they would. We're talking payloads now.
Superb. Yes.
First of all, Phantom.
Yes.
And while you're answering that, I'm just going to switch off the beep.
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, for the payload on the Phantom, you don't really want to overly go crazy. You want to really stick with like a GoPro 3 type thing, because if you overcook the payload, the simple thing is you really shorten the flight time. So even if it could lift a kilogram off the ground, it would be for 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
What's the point?
Yep.
So that one, very lightweight.
Yep.
One of these guys, obviously a completely different ball game.
Yep.
Maximum takeoff weight for this copter is 7 kilograms. So that's batteries, motors, everything all together. The gimbal itself and the camera, battery all on there, still leaves you with nearly a kilogram of payload left to add on top of what we've got here currently. So if you need a pterodactyl this or a video that, you can still put it on. You've still got some room there to go.
Yeah. Excuse me, as it comes another one.
That's fine.
Insurance for commercial use. So what's the process? How difficult it is to get you that insurance?
Okay, insurance is, once again, to use the car analogy, you can't bowl up to any insurance agency and say, hi, I don't have a driving license to cover me for a car. So you need to go through the qualification process.
Yep.
There are a few centres in the UK that do this at the moment. Typically, they're about 2.5 days to go through the training.
Yep.
Prices are typically about £2,000 to get through the training.
Yep.
But once you're done, then that means you're certified, you're rated on this craft, and therefore you can use it time in, time out, time in, time out.
Now, the model of this one is?
This is the S800.
This is the S800.
Spreading wings.
Gotcha. Can you get a pan tilt gimbal for this?
This actually does have it.
Okay.
It does indeed. So whilst it's got a fantastic... so I don't know if you want to get in a bit
90
close.
Degrees on that. If you turn, if you turn
sure.
This, sorry, so if we turn the helicopter
Well, did you want me to turn the gimbal 90 degrees, or did you want to
let's turn the
it?
helicopter a bit? If I do that, and then we can see it before I can get it on this camera. So let me move this camera, guys, so you can see. Somebody's asked about pan and tilt, and we answer your questions. Well, that's definitely panning.
I think that's...
And I do believe there's some tilt going on there as well.
Yeah, let's send that back.
There you go. So if you want to know if it had a pan and tilt, well, there's the answer, and I can tell you now it's also slip ringed. Because it's which basically means it's not got, it doesn't get tangled up. So this thing can just keep going round and round and round as many times as you want.
Until the battery goes flat.
Until the battery goes flat.
So we can bring it back into what we would call a normal flight position.
Brilliant, and it'll just return to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the ability, if you want to do GIS mapping. So let's say you're an archaeologist, you want to know how much soil you've excavated, etc., etc. Simply fly this over the top, take photographs in that position, 90 degrees. So when you put it all together for GIS mapping, that will then allow you to just basically form the 3D meshes, and then you can do all the complex calculations. Also, it would be very useful, I guess, for people in the film world. They need to do a straight down shot. You've seen the classic ones in the movies where they come all the way up, or they fly straight over New York, the buildings, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
it can do all
that can do. And then you've got, as we've obviously demonstrated, we've got lots and lots going on. But if we stop being a bit silly with it for a moment, you actually have the ability to request it to start going around, but you also can slowly go, or you can ask it to go quite aggressively. So with perfect control, there isn't actually just like a a 1 speed, you can actually slow that right
Gotcha.
down.
So you can say start turning at this speed and it will stay consistently and just keep turning at that speed for you.
That's the controller now completely left alone. I don't know if you can get that in shot or not.
We can indeed.
So I'm just using the 2 controls that are just on the backs here.
And that's now doing a gradual tilt up.
That's it.
And
So
you're not actually controlling that.
Promise, hands
there
are
we
off.
go. So you can set it to do that.
Yep. So
Brilliant.
you can do, as you can see, I can get it to move through, and I can get it to speed up, and I can get it to turn through different axes as well.
And this is all from a single controller.
This is, you can specify a 2 controller option as well, so you can have your pilot, which is a lot more, in some respects, it's a lot more intuitive to actually use the sticks to do the flying. On the back, if you're fairly well versed in PlayStation and various other controllers, you certainly get to grip to these very quickly. So you know if you need to look left and right, or if you need to look down and up. Plus, once you put it in position hold, the copter stays pretty much where you've asked it to be,
and you
unless
can just
it's a
leave
really blustery day, and then you can just literally start flying the camera around. So, yeah.
Truly amazing. One question we quickly had, it should be a simple answer. Batteries on this, if you wanted to, if you're in the field and you need to change out the batteries, is it easy to do so?
Yeah, I find it relatively easy because it's one connection underneath, and then you do that, and then you put your next one on. So, yeah, it's pretty easy. That pack then comes straight off, plugs it in, and it's done.
Brilliant.
So hopefully that answers the question.
That answers that one.
Yeah.
The next one we got regarding the Phantom.
Yes.
And I could answer this if you can't. They asked, does it come in different colours so it's easy to see? Now there is.
Yeah, you can answer this one because you got excited about it.
I got really excited about it. Can we? Is it? I don't even know whether is it still possible to show it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you want to know how you see it when obviously it's white.
So the first thing you'll see is so just make sure we get it in.
Okay,
right, you get flashing lights on the back.
There's a flashing light.
And then underneath, risking life and limb.
There you go.
Oh, let me just come down a bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to avoid the S800. Which there we go. You get the LEDs light up underneath.
If
when
we,
you're
what are we on? We're on that. Let me just change the aperture. Drop the aperture a bit on that. All right, go on then. There you go. We have lights. And you'll notice that we have 2 green lights and 2 red lights to help orientation, so you know which is forward, backwards, left and right effectively as well.
There is an interesting point on orientation though on both of these, which I know that you were asking about a little earlier.
It's true, yeah, absolutely. Mention that.
The one thing that's really good, a lot of people get confused about orientation.
Yes.
So when you have something flying towards you, left is right and right is left.
Yes.
So you get a little bit kind of, is it?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you're ising it, you're normally a little bit too late with some stuff, especially if you're near trees, etc.
Yeah.
So DJI have a fantastic thing which is available on both. It's called Intelligent Orientation Control. It's fantastic. And what it means is you don't actually need to know the orientation of the copter.
Right.
Because if I told you front is always over there, even if the copter's front is there, that's still front. So you press forward, it goes forward.
Gotcha.
You pull backwards, it still comes backwards. No matter which orientation it's in,
it will always go the way you want it to go.
You no longer need to worry about left is right, right is left, front is back, back is front. It's confusing to even think about it when it's up there. So
you just know that if you're pushing the stick that way, it's going to go away from you. If you're pulling it towards you, it's going to come towards you.
Absolutely. So that's the best thing about the IOC is what it's called, Intelligent Orientation Control. And it's available on the Phantom.
All the way up the range.
All the way up the range to the S800.
Brilliant. I just had another question in me.
Yeah.
I've had 2, but I'll answer this one first. Somebody says, will it loop? Will it fly upside down?
Okay, fine. If you feel brave
Only
enough...
Airwolf can do that, isn't it?
If you feel brave enough to go into manual mode, I wouldn't really recommend you try it on one of these. But the intermediate range, which I didn't bring with us this evening, yes, fully acrobatic. But it's in manual means that you have to do every single last step yourself.
So you really got to know
You really got to know, you've really got to know what you're doing.
Theoretically, though, you can loop it.
I've never tried looping this 800. You're now making me think I want to try it. Off camera.
Do you know, if you want to give it a go and film an 800 doing a loop-the-loop, guarantee we'll play it for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll have to check. Leave it with me.
And of course, the other one was, what's the pricing on these things?
An absolute bare bones system, so the basic bare minimum to get in is going to cost you somewhere in the region of about 6K.
And this is the 800?
This is the 800 we're talking about. So as a pro user, that is your bare minimum. Typically though, when we start speaking to clients and they start understanding the capabilities, the extra additional functions like the waypoints, the on-screen displays, and all of the other little bits and pieces that really help and aid you with doing your job, the spec sheet normally ends up getting quite close to 10K very quickly. I often say to my clients, if we're going to be giving you the top of the range system, don't expect much change out of about 12K.
Sure.
That's with some box, the big flight
Everything
box,
in
the chargers, the batteries, the gimbal, everything all in there. So you want for nothing.
Yeah. But from that, you're getting amazing shots.
I was about to say, you are getting stunning shots.
And if you want to get into flying the drone and you want to get yourself a Phantom?
If you want to get a Phantom, very, very simply, well, I guess you could order one from me, really.
Yeah.
Is that the point where I get to plug my company?
You can plug your company after you told us how much they're going to pay for one.
Right, okay. Straightforward.
Yeah.
£499.
Yeah.
Once again, everything's in the box, so you end up with a battery charger, you end up with a battery, the Phantom, the blades. There's even 4 spare blades in there, so there's plenty of scope in there. Radio controller. The only thing that you need to add, as I said earlier, is a pilot. Yeah. And basically you're off and
off you go.
Running,
Fantastic. Go on then. If they want to contact you to
get
one of these beauties.
If you want to contact me, it's very simple. It's simply buildyourown.drone.co.uk. If you dive onto the site, you see that the Phantom's there ready to order today.
And you offer the whole range of DJI drones, gimbals, parts, accessories.
Absolutely.
You can build them for them if they do want to build it themselves?
I certainly can do. We do offer a full professional build service. We have qualified pilots on staff as well. And if there's anything the client wants to be built, certainly we'll take a look at it, even if it's something that's not in the store. We've built quite a few bespoke projects over the last 2 or 3 years we've been in business. So yeah, it's very exciting times.
Brilliant. Martin, thank you very much. It was amazing to see them when we saw them at BVE. And I can't wait to start playing with them. You can leave this one here. I'll take this now. Martin, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go and have a look at his website. And they're just round the corner from us, and I think we're going to be talking to them more often and getting some amazing videos, I'm sure, especially of that 800 that he's going to fly upside down over the weekend for us and send us the YouTube video. Now he's under pressure. Now, did I mention earlier that you can win one of these? Can I just borrow that for a second?
Yeah.
Would you care to win one of these? Well, guess what? We have one to give away. Look, this could be yours. This drone could be yours. All set up, ready to fly by the man himself. So, how can you get your hands on one of these drones? Well, you may know that the Broadcast Show is going on a road trip in May. We are doing a UK tour of 5 cities. Now, this is easy. All we need you to do is tell us via Twitter @BroadcastShow what the 5 cities are. Okay, so tweet us @BroadcastShow, put the hashtag #BShowTour. We thought we'd do BS Tour, but we thought best not in the end. So BShowTour, hashtag it with that. Tell us the 5 cities that we will be visiting in May, and you will go into the draw to win a DJI Phantom. Stick your GoPro on it, which I bet you've all got lying around somewhere, and go and have some fun and learn to fly one of these amazing things. And then 8 p.m. on the 27th, 27th of March, is that right? Is that right when we're going to be doing the draw? When are we doing the draw? Next Wednesday. 27th. Yeah, so it is on it. I wasn't sure whether that was when we're doing it. So 27th of March 2013, this year, which is next Wednesday, we'll select a tweeter at random from those who've entered, and we'll announce it on the TV Bay Facebook page. If you don't know where it is, go to Facebook, and I suspect if you search TV Bay, you'll come up as the page. And just tick like on that, and then you'll always be able to find it. So that's what you do. Again, tweet us @BroadcastShow. Tell us the 5 cities that we will be visiting in May on the Broadcast Show tour. Hashtag it BShowTour, just so we can find you. And then you could be the winner of this drone. Right. When you do win it, if you do win it, I hope you do, could you please write us a little review? That's the only thing we ask. Funnily enough, we're like a magazine show, and we have a magazine called TV Bay and DV User, and it would be great to get your views on your DJI Phantom. So if you're prepared to write a little review, then please enter. You only have to do 600 words. Sounds a lot. It isn't. And what the hell? You'll have a DJI Phantom anyway. Write us a review and put it in the magazine. Enter the competition. What could go wrong? Just try it. Now, the next 3 shows will be our most adventurous yet, because we're flying out to NAB in Las Vegas. And we will be bringing you an hour-long show direct from the show floor each day. And that'll be on the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th of April. Now, due to time zones, we will be slightly earlier with the UK streaming time. So remember this, jot it in your diaries, 5 p.m, because that's 9 a.m. in Vegas, you see. That means I've got to get up early. So 9 a.m. Vegas time, if you're there, 5 p.m. for UK guys, we will be streaming an hour-long show live from the NAB show floor. We'll bring you the latest news announcements as they happen, and if there's anything in particular that you want us to see, then please let us know again via Twitter @BroadcastShow, or if you want to, you can email us live@broadcastshow.com. I always have to pause .com like that. So that's it for this show. We do have a huge thanks to give to the people who help us out by providing kit. We've got, of course, AutoCue, Vinton, Sony, Panasonic, Civilite, Irinaro, Cash Media, Holdan, Workstation Specialist, Telestream, Stream UK, Tarium for our satellite communications, and, of course, our friends at Blackmagic Design for sponsoring this month's show. If you're at NAB, then please get in touch, as we'd love you to participate in the live shows. You can come and sit next to me if you want. If not, then be sure to tune in at 5 p.m. on the 8th, 9th and 10th of April. The next studio show here in the UK is on the 24th of April. Hopefully I've recovered from the jet lag, and we promise to have another great lineup of guests and technology. Finally, I mentioned the Broadcast Show tour earlier, and we'll be joined by John Harrison and Rick Young, plus a host of great manufacturers and exhibitors. See more about that on page 39 of the latest TV Bay magazine. If you're not getting it, then make sure you do by going to tvbay.com, and you can sign up for the magazine there. So if you'd like to come along and learn and see and try all sorts of things about lighting, cameras, editing, then please visit and register now. Well, thanks for watching, and we will see you from Las Vegas in April. Until then, goodbye.